Action.
Et ça forme encore. Laissez-moi vous raconter l'histoire de ma vie.
Qui êtes-vous?
Oh mais c'était drôle.
Je pourrais pas le refaire aujourd'hui dans les conditions.
C'est pour ça que l'histoire reste mythique. Ça peut pas être refait.
Qu'est-ce que tu penses que Dieu pourrait dire de toi ou pense de toi?
Tu vas être un mauvais garçon, je te parle.
You know what happened?
What happened?
You're watching Now in News. I'm your host Marina Kuffa. Today at the movie premiere ROCANCOURT, and I'm here with the director and the producer, David Serero. David, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you to you, my dear Marina. It's an honor.
Thank you. I'd like to know what drew you to ROCANCOURT's story. It's very controversial.
Absolutely. Well, it's a story I've been knowing for almost 20 years because I kind of grew up with that story. He was this Frenchman who was the kind of catch me if you can of friends, you know, in America, was wanted by the FBI. It was such a crazy story that I felt needed to be treated and needed to be told. And I felt I was in the right place because, you know, I remember him in the US 20 years ago, but also, you know, I'm French, I'm very influenced by the American culture, by the American filmmaking, so I felt I could do a good job, and he is very happy, and I'm very happy.
Okay, so let's go from the beginning, because he was also French, right?
Yeah.
He moved to the United States and pretend to be a Rockefeller.
Exactly.
So now to trace the whole story and trace the person, how did you do that?
Well, I was very lucky to have a long interview with him and many interviews, and he took me to the places where he grew up, and it was very important to understand not just when he arrived to LA, but to understand his childhood and to understand even prior to that, to understand with his parents. So you can, you know, I always say that every person is the result of an equation, you know, so you have to understand the whole equation. If you remove one thing, if you remove his childhood, if you remove his parents, Rockefeller came way later, but before he passed himself for a prince, for a champion of boxing, for, you know, he did so many things, but his story is so unique and it cannot be done again, because today if you say you are Rockefeller, you are this, you are the son of Sophia Loren, or the son of the producer, whatever, people will Google you. In those days there was no Google. So he was able to go like this, and I believe the film teaches us a lot about, I would say, the human nature. And that's what this movie, I think, it also is. And in that movie, I put a lot of different style of filmmaking: a thriller, action movie, documentary, spontaneous interview. I put all of that with this raw emotion, and that I'm very happy of the result. Yeah.
So incorporation of all those elements brought you to several awards and festival in Cannes.
Yeah, I was very happy, and actually it was the premiere. And that helped a lot because after in June the movie was released into even more movie theaters, and I remember back in those days there was Bad Boys 4, there was all these movies, and I had as many screenings almost as them, you know, in some movie theaters. So I was very happy and people loved it, and it's, even though, you know, it's a movie that has so many different styles, at the end it's still a documentary, so it's still, you know, you're still happy when a documentary gets a movie theater screening, you know, because that's what I want, is to bring people together and to share that story, you know. These days on platform, you know, they eating while they, you know, they're cooking, they're doing something else. So I build really that movie for movie theaters.
So it's a legendary story of Hollywood.
Oh yeah,
right?
I'm glad you're saying that.
Yeah. One question before we go to your bio. How did you meet him?
Well, I was a big fan of him, of course. His books were very, you know, were iconic to me. And no, I just reached out to his lawyer. And his lawyer said, okay, I'm going to tell him about your interest to make a movie. He was not interested to do a movie originally, but he was interested to meet me. And then when he met me, he really wanted to do the movie, but I got scared. you know. And actually, he reassured me by telling me really that he would be there, that he would support me, and that's, you know, I think in the result in that movie, because he was able to really, really give himself 100%. So there is this proximity, you know, this really closeness that we have in the movie. That's really what I'm really happy and proud of.
And where is he now?
He is hiding. No, he is in Paris. He is in Paris. You know.
That's far away from here. David, let's talk about you.
Oh.
Tell us your story, how you end up in Hollywood, and you are very well known opera singer, and you do production of Broadway in New York. Tell us all about yourself.
Well, you know, it's for me the documentary. It's what is actually the closest of the stage, because you can have only one take. You know, when you see he goes in the cemetery or he tells a story, you can do only one take of that. So there is something so spontaneous in this movie and in all the movies I do yet, that really for me is an extension of the stage. And I test also the movie as if it was a show, you know, to make sure there is not a single dead moment, that it's really punching and going up. That's really what I try to do. But look, I have now so many more movies, and now I'm trying to bring the filmmaking into the stage and the stage into the filmmaking. So I'm filming now theater in a new way, you know, like very immersive. I put the camera on stage, you know, that follows the actor. Something really new also. And and I hope I'm going to bring that more and more to more and more people. So
that's amazing. So you also produced musical or off Broadway with Jackson 5, right? Well, tell me about it.
In Paris, we toured. We did an album also. That's like 12 years ago now, but it's still, people still tell me about it.
Memory.
It was like really the mixing of opera and pop music, which at that time was really new, you know. And so honored, so delighted, and I love, of course, the Jackson, German. I'm going to see them actually Saturday, so I'm very, very pleased to be in LA, in Hollywood is wonderful.
Well, you're in the right place. Besides Paris, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your interview.
Thank you